Hi everybody, welcome to Crepes Tea House. This is Big Talk with Little Joe. I'm the host, Jordan, and today we're going to be having some special guests today. Our first guest is going to be Joe DiDonato. He is the co-founder of the Orphan Foundation, and he's also written a book, and he's been president and CEO of many corporations. Please welcome Joe DiDonato. Thank you. Thanks for coming on the show, Joe. So you're actually co-founder of the Orphan Foundation, correct?
Yes, with my wife.
Lovely wife, which is right there.
My lovely wife, Tatiana, yes.
So how did you guys exactly get in? What made you decide
to start?
Yeah.
Well, believe it or not, it started with a phone call from the Department of Education in Russia. And they had gotten my name from Microsoft, and they wanted to get education to the remote orphanages in the Far East. And Tatiana was the physician in charge of the children in the Far East, and the only person that could speak enough English to take me around. So that's how we met. And we visited about 9 orphanages. And
so you guys actually met through the Orphan Foundation, is that right?
No, actually to try and get education to the remote orphanages in the Far East. So the problem with the kids is that if they don't get education and so forth, and they get kicked out when they're 17, 18 years old, then they have to go find work. If they don't find work, then they become a problem for society. So
right, yeah.
They end up with drugs and crime and prostitution and so forth. So this was the Department of Education's idea to try to stop that cycle. And then, in some cases, they were getting children, their own children, leaving them off at the orphanages. So
right.
Pretty sad.
So now, how many? You actually got a paper right here with the facts and figures. How many orphans are there in the world?
163 million.
Really? That many orphans?
It's an awesome number. It's 143 children that are classified as orphans. Another 20 million are classified as displaced children, meaning displaced by war, natural disasters, and things of that nature. So quite a few. Enough to make it the 7th largest population in the world.
Wow.
Be larger than Russia, speaking of Russia.
So now, how many people do you have working with this Orphan Foundation?
Well, we're all volunteers, so that's the uniqueness.
Non-profit, yeah.
Non-profit. We have a board. We have one of our board members here, former state representative Rosemary Sandlin, and we have 7 other board members, and they're located around the country. And when we do an event, we end up rounding up some volunteers, and we need some volunteers for an event coming up. If there's anyone interested.
Oh, I'd actually be interested in that. Where is that going to be? Around here?
Yeah, we're going to actually do a best ball bowling challenge. We've never done one before, and we're going to do it down at the Bradley Bowl.
Okay.
And we chose kind of a golf format for it.
Because you're a golfer.
Because I'm a golfer, and I didn't have any kind of a handicap established for bowling, and I wanted everybody to compete. So we made it a best ball. So if one person throws a strike in a frame, that's the best ball, and it's also worst ball, so gutter counts.
Wow. Yeah, I'm actually bad in golf, golf and bowling, but I would definitely be interested in doing that if you give me more information.
I've got some flyers with me, and it's a pretty nice event. Chili's is actually going to be a sponsor, as is the Crepes Tea House. So anybody who comes, they get
art sponsor.
They get a goodie bag full of all kinds of coupons. I think Art's putting in a $5 coupon, and Chili's is doing the same and supplying the goodie bags and so forth.
Wow, that's excellent. With the viewers at home that are watching, could you give a little more information? Where is it going to be?
Yes, it's going to be on May 21st, and it's going to be at the Bradley Bowl, which is right across the street from Bradley International Airport.
That's what, yeah.
And it's bowl-a-thon format, so that means a bunch of shifts during the day, 2-hour shifts. So you kind of sign up online, and our flyers are there. And if you go to our website, which is www.theorphanfoundation.org, there's also links there.
Right.
So a lot of fun. The coveted award will be a bowling pin for the winning team.
Are you a good bowler?
I am not anymore.
Right. So
Long time ago.
it was a long time ago. No, is your golfing better, or is the
Golfing is a little bit better. I actually became a teaching golf professional, but then I quit golf immediately thereafter.
Oh, so you used to be a golf pro.
Not
Well, you taught.
my daughter sent me to golf school after a while. That she said, "What are your lifetime goals?" And I had not achieved any of them. So she said, "Well, how about I send you to golf school?" And so I did do that and qualified. It was a little easier because at the time I was over 50, and it was a special. You only had to shoot 275 to qualify, plus pass all the teaching part.
So what was your hand? Did you have a handicap?
No, you just have to score.
I have no idea how that works. I actually have a golf course right next to my house, but I never play. But there's always golf balls all over the place and stuff hitting houses.
Yeah,
and stuff.
well, there's a whole business around that on eBay. You can go out there.
Oh yeah, I used to pick them up all the time and like give them to my dad because my dad used to play when he was younger.
Yeah.
A couple of years back. So, you actually now you've been CEO and president of 6 organizations, 6 companies.
I don't know if it's that many, but they're mostly in the world of education. So there were small companies. One was a company that we merged together. It was called Knowledge Planet. Another one was called Interwise, which was the distance learning company. And that was the link to Microsoft, which was the link to Russia, which was the link to my wife and the Orphan Foundation.
6 degrees of separation.
Yeah, so it was all connected together there.
Now, what was your favorite company to work at? If you could pick.
I think way back it was Oracle.
Oh, you worked for Larry Ellison?
For Larry Ellison, yeah.
Right.
It was a very fast-growing company, and it doubled its sales every year. And
yeah, that's a big.
And we kind of had a little protected organization that didn't get involved in all the politics of the rest of the company, and all we had to do was double or triple our sales every year in education, and we were fine.
So you strictly stick with the education side of.
Yeah, I came up through consulting world and actually got into education kind of on a fluke. They were going to close education at Oracle after 11 years because it never made any money, and I did a chuckle, and that was a bad time to chuckle. They said, "What's so funny, DiDonato?" And I said, "Well, I just trying to think of a major organization that closed down its education and still became a leader in software."
Yeah.
So they said, "Okay, smart, you go,
Yeah. Well,
you go run it." So we did, and I put together a really good team, a lot of high energy people, and we grew it from a $2 million operation to a $100 million operation in 4 years.
and is that the people? What's the PeopleSoft? Because you actually worked for.
PeopleSoft is another ERP kind of a company. So Oracle makes database software. It's
Right.
a relational database company, and they also have products that run the back offices of big corporations. PeopleSoft is like that. PeopleSoft made their name in the world of HR. So, in fact, Oracle bought PeopleSoft after a while, but I was long gone.
When you say ER platform, I actually learned this in class like last year. That means what resource platform?
Enterprise resource planning.
Planning,
or-
the ERP?
yeah.
Okay.
It just means your accounts payable, accounts receivable, general ledger, inventory systems, your HR systems, and things like that. That's what they're about.
So you actually, now you also published what made you get in, because you said you went to consulting. Is that what you started off?
I had my own consulting company early on, and,
Yep.
and then the stock market took a tumble, and I sold the company, and that's when I joined Oracle, and I joined Oracle in the consulting side of their business, and ran a small region within Oracle at that time. So, but after that, because we had such great success in the world of education, never got away from it after that.
Right, so you've just been sticking. So how long have you been with like the whole education side of business?
Too many years. It's more than 25.
Really, that long? So what have you been noticing through those past 25 years? How things have been changing with the whole education?
We had a really an interesting team. there was there was always an issue with training in the classroom. When I took it over, that's where most of the training occurred. And I had a young son who never got above a D or an F in the classroom.
Yeah.
We tested him, and he was one of the highest IQs ever tested in San Mateo County, which is out in California. I said, well, how can this be? How can he have a high IQ and flunk? And they said, well, he's basically bored with the classroom. So I was explaining this to the people that worked with me, and they said, well, let's start looking at things that we can do outside the classroom. So back then, it was like 98, 99% in the classroom. And so we started experimenting with, back then it was called computer-based training, videotapes, audio tapes.
Yeah.
And eventually, by the time we were done with that tour there, it was starting to have a big movement towards what's now called e-learning today. So, in fact, we made a prediction back then that by the year 2000, there would be 50% of the training would be available on a desktop, which was got my car keyed by all the instructors. So, it was. We had a lot of fun. You have to know that the teachers are late adopters of technology, so there's always some resistance. The 2 times they went on strike, the first time was when the book was first published. And these are stories that the first teacher of the year in America told me. When the first book was published, and they all went on strike. So why? Well, you won't need us anymore. It's all written in the book.
Yeah.
The second time they went on strike was when VCR tapes came out, because they thought that was job threatening. But since then, they've become more aggressive in what they're adopting.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a long time before it catches up with the commercial side, but education's changing a lot.
Right. Yeah.
When we did a study, the last company I worked, we asked the people their favorite form of education. We thought we gave them books and classroom and all these sorts of things, and their number one choice was Google.
Really?
Everybody, it's all search directed, and that's how the IT folks found their information.
Yeah.
We ended up putting huge digital libraries online, and there was hardly any completion of courses, but there was a lot of traffic there, so we couldn't figure out what was going on. They would simply go in and cut a snippet of code that they needed for their work and went ahead and used it. So I think what's happening for everybody now is that one of the studies that the Delphi group did was that 25% of a knowledge worker's day is spent in search of information to do their job. Wow. So you can understand why it's hard to educate in that arena. Things are moving too fast.
Yeah.
Some of the stats I just moderated a panel down in Washington, D.C. for eLearning Magazine. And one of the stats that they had was that we process more information now in a 24-hour period than our ancestors did in their lifetimes 500 years ago. Just comparing to our grandparents, we process more in a 24-hour period than they did in a whole month.
Wow. Yeah, there's a lot of information going back and forth. I mean, I remember when I was in high school, that's when they just started integrating online courses and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people learn differently and stuff like that, because a lot of people, they're not good in school, but when they get out of school, they're really driven and motivated, and they have that entrepreneurial, gift and stuff like that. Like, for instance, for your son, he wasn't that good in school, but it doesn't mean obviously you're intelligent by the IQ test. So it's kind of like the school's not teaching the things that maybe need to be taught, or in keeping kids' interest from, like dozing off in class and stuff like that.
Well, a little off topic, but there's Howard Gardner did a lot of research, and